During the infamous Nintendo drought of 2018, Switch owners only saw a handful of first-party titles, which led to record-high levels of mass boredom, and for some reason 70 million families lost their homes as well. However, after realizing the error of their ways, N-Dog pumped the Switch full of steroids for 2019 with games such as Super Mario Maker 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, Luigi's Mansion 3, Sister Act 2, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Astral Chain, The Link's Awakening remake, Animal Crossing, and real new Pokemon games. Not to mention Smash Ultimate's getting 5 new fighters as DLC. But despite there being so much gold on Nintendo's little hybrid that could, the fact remains that the year's 2019, and that means with the more nice things we have, the more people seem to want. And many fans want more so badly that if anybody claims to have Switch leaks, a large chunk of the internet just talks about it as if it's fact, just as long as the source it came from successfully made an obvious prediction within the past 5 years. And with each passing leak getting more out of hand as of late, I've decided it's my duty as a humanitarian to stand up and tell everybody to calm down. So take a load off, slip into something more comfortable, forget the fact that I told you to slip into something more comfortable because it's actually pretty weird, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, New Zealand's greatest export Cameron, to tell you why everybody should stop getting too invested in trying to find Switch leaks. Alright, so the first thing I've got to get out of the way is to make sure everybody knows that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with speculation or anticipating future Nintendo Directs. It can be a lot of fun to guess what Nintendo's up to next, which is a lot of what I do on this channel after all. And it'd be kinda weird to not take leaks that are actually credible seriously, like when retailers such as Circuit City and Kmart don't even attempt to keep anything a secret. But when you literally can't go a day on social media without seeing people sharing like 37 supposed leaks that some people are accepting as fact, then I'd say we've got a bit of a problem on our hands. Cause I don't know about you, but there's a handful of Switch games I genuinely want to play but just haven't found the time for yet. And with there being so many games to play, not only on the Switch but on other consoles as well, not to mention streaming services that offer an endless supply of entertainment with free internet content for good measure, I just can't fully understand how some people can be starving for even more games to leak, when they could be playing the actual games everybody was wanting to leak last year. And don't get me wrong, after Labo shit the bed with the 2018 drought and we had to survive off of Wii U ports and secondary titles, I was right there with everybody else feeding on any information on new games. But even if the Switch is your only console, 2019's looking pretty goddamn good as I mentioned earlier. And while I'm not expecting the above average sized end to reveal any new games as big as Animal Crossing, Super Mario Maker, or Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm sure there's a few more games we don't know about that are coming in 2019, or at the very least early 2020. And I'm not saying you're an ingrate if you're not excited about every 2019 Switch game just because a lot of them are considered to be a big deal, because even my fat ass doesn't want to play them all. I mean, as much as I appreciate Animal Crossing, it's just not something I was ever able to get into. All I'm saying is that even if you're upset that a new Paper Mario or Pikmin 4 aren't coming in 2019, there's probably a pretty good chance you'd enjoy at least a few of the other big releases I mentioned. After all, you already bought a Switch for at least one of the games that are already out. I mean, most people don't buy a console for a game that hasn't even been announced yet. So instead of being disappointed over certain games not being revealed, why not just enjoy games like Yoshi's Crafted World instead of trying too hard to overanalyze photos of Smash Bros trying to figure out where characters fit in? And speaking of Smash Bros, I'm even more excited seeing who the remaining DLC fighters will end up being than I am about seeing my father get released from prison. Because if all the DLC's as big of a deal as Joker, I'm peeing my pants on the spot. Well, with that being said though, I really don't need to know who all the fighters are right this second. I mean, we waited for what feels like forever for the damn game to come out in the first place, with tons of false leaks for good measure, and then it seemed like a small but noticeable chunk of the fan base got bored after like 3 months. And I think that's a real shame, because Smash Ultimate already has over 70 fighters from like 90 different franchises as it is. So personally, I don't have any problem whatsoever with just waiting to find out who the other fighters are whenever Nintendo's ready to reveal them. And look, I completely get that the anticipation for new characters is higher than a giraffe's butt crack, but if data miners really discovered all the DLC, then what's left to look forward to? Or on the flip side, if the data mines turn out to be inaccurate, then I think the disappointment from high hopes being destroyed will be that much worse. Which would really be unfair for characters in high demand like Bubsy or Shaq to get revealed, only to get shit on for not being Banjo or Crash just because some guy named Dingus Sellers on Twitter misled us. And the same thing could be said for Nintendo Directs as well. Every time one's announced, people come out of the woodworks with supposed leaks that are more often than not just guesses. And it's really not all that hard to be right about guessing at least a few announcements for Nintendo Directs. I mean, we know what franchises aren't on the Switch yet, and I'm sure we're gonna get most of them by the end of the console's life. So every time I see people sharing photos of Nintendo Direct leaks, all I can really think about is how I don't understand why some people can't wait literally one day to hear announcements directly from the source. But I'd rather wipe my ass than overanalyze whether or not a Nintendo Direct leak is reliable hours before we're gonna find out organically anyway. That way I don't build unrealistic hype just to be disappointed when only 4 of the 5 games I wanted are revealed. Once again, I'm not saying it's not fun to speculate or that there's never been reliable leaks. All I'm saying is that instead of taking every leak we see so seriously just because the games featured in them are badass, we should keep our expectations in check and make sure we take the time to enjoy what we have right now. Because the Switch is absolutely killing it with an assload of good games that don't deserve to be overlooked in favor of fantasizing about titles that some guy on Twitter said we're getting in the future. Because unless playing the Nintendo Switch is all you do besides eating and pooping, then there's no way you're caught up on every good game that's come out for it so far. And even if you are caught up with them, it's still more fun to just play another console than to take every leak so seriously. But I think one reason why people obsess over leaks so much has more to do with it than just wanting new games. I think a big part of it's just wanting to know things you're not supposed to. And with video game companies like Nintendo being as big as they are, it does feel kinda good to know that even they slip up from time to time. All I'm saying is that I wish some people would stop taking every leak they see so seriously and take more time to enjoy the games we have right now. But I'll tell you 2 people who I enjoy having right now are today's patrons of the day, Andrew Lawler and Seth Henderson. If you want to join these 2 legends, then consider supporting this channel on Patreon for loot boxes and Polaroids in the mail. And if you pick up one of our shirts or mugs that are guaranteed to land you a hot date, then you can make cameos in our video doing whatever you want by simply sending us pictures or videos of you rocking it like these badasses right here. What do you think about the abundance of Switch leaks, though? Do you think they can get a little out of hand? Or do you think I'm a butthole for raining on everyone's parade? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll pin whatever I find most entertaining or intriguing. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to see more videos like this. And if you want to help this channel grow, then simply liking and sharing goes a long way. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.